Muy buenos días, queridos amigos. Es un gusto saludarles hoy en nombre del Centro Ruso de Ciencia y Cultura en Buenos Aires. Hoy le presentamos la jornada Teletecnología Nuclear Rusa en América Latina, organizada en cooperación con la Corporación Estatal de la Energía Atómica Rosatom, el líder mundial en exportación de reactores nucleares y tecnologías nucleares. Las representantes de las destacadas universidades rusas, la Universidad Nacional de Investigación MEFI, la Universidad Politécnica de Tomsk, hablarán de los últimos logros rusos en el ámbito nuclear y de las aplicaciones de energía nuclear en la actualidad. Me gustaría recordarles que este año el gobierno ruso otorga 18,000 becas para estudiantes extranjeros para estudiar en las mejores universidades rusas, en el marco del programa de becas estatales. Espero que muchos de ustedes se van a aplicar para la beca para estudiar carreras de grado y posgrado en el ámbito nuclear en las universidades rusas. Tienen tiempo hasta el 15 de marzo para postularse a las becas a través del sitio educationinrussia.com. En un rato vamos a compartir el link y les recuerdo que estamos en vivo en Facebook, así que pueden dejar sus preguntas y al final de este evento le vamos a contestar. Bueno, es importante destacar que cada país tiene su propio cupo asignado por el gobierno de Rusia y justamente por eso hoy contamos con la presencia de los representantes del Centro Ruso de Ciencia y Cultura en varios países de América Latina y las embajadas que a la brevedad le van a enviar sus mensajes. Contamos la presencia de esos representantes de Argentina, de Paraguay, de Chile, de Cuba, de Bolivia. Pero primero, la palabra de bienvenida va a pronunciar como anfitriona del evento la directora del Centro Ruso de Ciencia y Cultura en Buenos Aires, Olga Muratova.
Queridos amigos, estimados colegas, me alegra darles la bienvenida en nombre del Centro Ruso de Ciencia y Cultura en Buenos Aires, más conocido acá en Argentina como la Casa de Rusia, a todos los presentes en nuestra jornada dedicada a las tecnologías nucleares rusas y a los programas educativos en este ámbito. La promoción de la educación rusa y el apoyo humanitario a los proyectos empresariales de las compañías rusas son una de las prioridades de la Casa de Rusia en Argentina. Estamos muy contentos de que nuestros socios de Rosatom, junto con las universidades rusas, la Universidad Nacional de Investigación Nuclear y la Universidad Politécnica Nacional de Investigación de Tomsk, hayan tenido la maravillosa idea de realizar la jornada de la tecnología nuclear rusa en América Latina en nuestra plataforma virtual. La Corporación Estatal Rusa Rosatom es nuestro buen socio desde hace mucho tiempo. Juntos hemos organizado una serie de brillantes eventos destinados a popularizar las tradiciones rusas en Argentina. Estamos muy contentos de que la reunión de hoy vaya a abordar los temas educativos, que es especialmente importante ahora cuando estamos en plena convocatoria de becas para estudiar en Rusia en el marco del programa de becas estatales del gobierno de la Federación de Rusia. El Centro Ruso de Ciencia y Cultura en Buenos Aires selecciona tradicionalmente a los candidatos para estudiar en las universidades especializadas rusas en el marco de este programa para el cupo asignado por la empresa Rusa. Me gustaría dar las gracias a todos los organizadores del evento de hoy. Les deseo a todos buena salud y una charla fructífera. Muchísimas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Olga. Bueno, ahora cedemos la palabra a Dmitry Bajenov, el director de la Oficina de Proyectos para el Desarrollo de Competencias Internacionales de Rosatom Overseas. Por favor, Dmitry.
Hola, colegas. Para mí es un placer ser parte de la jornada de la tecnología nuclear rusa que estamos haciendo hoy juntos con ustedes, hablando sobre las tecnologías nucleares. Después voy a hacer una presentación relacionadas relacionadas sobre las actividades de Rosatom en Latinoamérica, especialmente sobre los centros nucleares que estamos construyendo, como ejemplo el centro nuclear en Bolivia el Alto, donde voy a dar breve información sobre nuestro proyecto. Obviamente el tiempo no me va a dar hablar mucho en detalle sobre diferentes productos de Rosatom, pero si después van a quedar algunas preguntas, estaré a su disposición para contestarlas y si será necesario vamos a poder enviar las presentaciones que ustedes necesitan. Muchísimas gracias y espero que este evento será muy interesante para todos.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Dmitry. Bueno, ahora vamos a escuchar los mensajes de los representantes de los Centros de Ciencia y Cultura y las embajadas en América Latina, para que van a comentar un poco sobre el proceso de postulación. Bueno, ahora cedo la palabra a Chile, a Ana Joclova, representante del Centro Ruso de Ciencia y Cultura Chile. Por favor.
Buenas tardes a todos. Les saludo Centro de Ciencia y Cultura de Chile. Estamos felices a participar en este evento tan importante que promociona cultura, que promociona ciencia y educación rusa. Y nosotros también recibimos postulaciones a las carreras relacionadas con física, matemática, estamos también en marco de este programa de Rosatom. Y bienvenido, las postulaciones están abiertas hasta 15 de marzo. Estamos felices de recibir estudiantes de esta carrera, postulaciones de los estudiantes. Gracias.
Bueno, muchas gracias. Bueno, ahora toca el Ecuador. Cedo la palabra al segundo secretario de la Embajada de Federación de Rusia en Ecuador y al jefe de la sección consular, Andrei Alexeyev. Por favor, Andrei.
Estimados amigos, amigas, muy buenas tardes. Para mí es un gran placer de saludarles todos el día de hoy. Ante todo, quisiera agradecer a los organizadores por su gentil invitación a este evento. Considero que el tema del taller es sumamente importante y actual en el mundo moderno. La tecnología nuclear nos ayuda en diversos aspectos de la vida cotidiana. Se trata no solo de electricidad limpia, sino de gran aporte a las áreas de medicina, industrias, agricultura, etc. Por eso espero que el evento sea muy interesante y útil para todos, y en particular para las personas quienes planean vincular su vida con esta esfera. Por nuestra parte, como embajada y especial nuestra sección consular maneja el tema de becas, es una de las tareas principales de nuestro consulado. Para este año, el gobierno ruso ofreció 100 becas para los ecuatorianos. Estamos en la época de la convocatoria y, por supuesto, estamos abiertos a cualquier consulta, siempre a sus órdenes, y muchísimas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Andrei. Bueno, por problemas técnicos, los representantes rusos en Cuba no pudieron conectarse, así que ya vamos a pasar a las presentaciones, a las charlas. Vamos a presentar la Universidad de MEFI y vamos a comenzar con un pequeño video. Bueno, le estoy recordando que estamos en vivo en Facebook y por los comentarios ya estoy viendo que nos están mirando desde Bolivia, desde Chile y de otros países. Así que por favor dejen sus comentarios y por las preguntas. Y ahora cedo la palabra a Diana. Es una estudiante que está cursando en MEFI, que va a compartir sus experiencias. Por favor, Diana.
Buenos días, señores y señores. Mi nombre es Dayana Gredo, soy colombiana. Me encuentro estudiando Física Nuclear y Tecnología con énfasis en Seguridad Radiológica en el Instituto de Física e Ingeniería Nuclear de OVNISC, filial de la Universidad Nacional de Investigación Nuclear MIFI. Permítanme darles una pequeña introducción a la próxima conferencia para ayudar un poco en su comprensión. Esta conferencia presenta información sobre el estado del arte dentro del campo de las aplicaciones no energéticas que se han vuelto cada vez más importantes en nuestras vidas. Podrían presentar soluciones sostenibles para una serie de desafíos que las generaciones actuales y futuras deberían enfrentar. Los radioisótopos y las instalaciones de irradiación tienen usos esenciales en múltiples sectores, incluidos productos de consumo, alimentación y agricultura, industria, medicina e investigación científica, transporte y cuestiones ambientales. En la agricultura y la industria alimentaria, las tecnologías de radiación se aplican ahora para mejorar la germinación de semillas y acelerar los procesos de crecimiento para las plantas que están cultivándose y animales de granja, para extender la vida útil de frutas y verduras. En medicina, la radiación y los radioisótopos se utilizan para el diagnóstico y la terapia de diferentes enfermedades. En primer lugar, contra el cáncer. Los principios básicos y ejemplos de estas aplicaciones se ilustran en la conferencia. Otros servicios de radiación para la atención médica incluyen la esterilización por radiación de dispositivos y suministros médicos, limpieza del agua y protección de la biodiversidad. No existen barreras en la radiación ionizante, ya que penetra en todas partes y se puede utilizar casi en cualquier área, ayudando a los humanos a resolver las tareas más mordaces y comunes. Nuevos materiales que parecen sacados del futuro, modernos sistemas de inspección para prevenir ataques terroristas y transporte de mercancías prohibidas, como dispositivos de medición de radioisótopos que pueden funcionar sin fuente de alimentación y en lugares con temperaturas y presiones extremas. Las aplicaciones abarcan en ciencias ambientales y biológicas, estudios históricos y tecnologías de reciclaje, arte y criminología, y en muchos otros campos. Así, las aplicaciones energéticas de las tecnologías nucleares crecen en número y cantidades cada año y compiten con las técnicas tradicionales en eficacia y seguridad, así como con la ingeniería nuclear en una variedad de servicios y beneficios comerciales, que abarcan cada vez más campos e industrias y allanando el camino hacia el bienestar económico y un alto nivel de vida. Ahora escucharemos a Ada Udalova, doctora en Ciencias Biológicas y catedrática del Instituto de Física e Ingeniería Nuclear de OVNISC, filial de la Universidad Nacional de Investigación Nuclear MIFI.
Perdón, tengo que interrumpir. Ala, le pido disculpas. Acá estamos en contacto con Bolivia, el encargado de negocios de la Embajada de Rusia en Bolivia, Yakov Fedorov, también ahora está con nosotros y le vamos a hacer la palabra, por favor.
Muy buenos días, buenas tardes a todos y todas. También saludamos a todos los participantes de esta conferencia de video. En Bolivia el tema de becas de nucleares y especialmente el tema de construcción del Centro de Investigaciones Nucleares también es muy importante y siempre cooperamos con diferentes instancias sobre la construcción y sobre convocatoria de las becas para los estudiantes, para las especializaciones nucleares. Cada año tenemos por lo menos 5 o 6. Yo recuerdo que habían veces cuando más de 20 postulantes tuvimos. Entonces seguimos cooperando, colaborando y damos mucha atención a este tema. Siempre bienvenido.
Muchas gracias. Y ahora sí, por favor, la profesora de MIFI, Ada Udalova. Bueno.
Thank you. I'll now open presentation, so hope it's okay. So thank you, Diana, for introduction to my lecture, and I also would like to thank our organizers for such a wonderful event, which is very remarkable in the number of participating parties, countries, organizations. So and this is actually very, very good. So my mission today is to give you some common review of current state with the application of nuclear technologies in non-energetic sphere. And first of all, I'd like to help you in distinguishing between energetic and non-energetic applications. So actually, in all these applications, we use nuclear reactions. And one of the common things with nuclear reactions is release of large amount of energy in the form of elementary particles of different types and also photons, which are electromagnetic waves. And of course, the first idea was to somehow utilize this energy released. And the very well-known application, maybe one of the most important in peaceful applications of nuclear energy, is nuclear power engineering. So this is nuclear power plants where we utilize nuclear energy for production of electricity, for generation of electricity. By the way, our branch of university is located in Obninsk, and I'm here also in Obninsk, where the first in the world nuclear power plant was launched. Today, a lot of countries have or are interested in construction of nuclear power plants because this is promising source of energy for our future generations and for our life. But nuclear power engineering is not my topic today because this is energetic application. There are also other ideas to use nuclear energy or nuclear heat in non-electric way, but this is still energetic application. And among them could be desalination of water. Yes, in the world, we have this problem today with a shortage of fresh water. And desalination technology with nuclear energy is quite promising, and there is experience in this field also. Nuclear heat can be used for district heating, and this is very important for cold countries, of course, like Russia and other northern countries. But simultaneously, it can be used to cool or to refrigerate different things. Then also in many industrial processes, we also need heat and energy. And usually today we use electricity for this. So first we need to generate electricity, maybe from nuclear energy or from other types of fossil fuels. Then we again transfer this electricity into heat. This is not effective. In projects with cogeneration, with nuclear cogeneration of heat, we can do it better and apply it in many industries, in chemical industry, metal production industry, paper industry, and so on. There are many other applications. For example, of course, I can help myself from saying about Russian nuclear icebreaker fleet, the only one in the world today. And also the last in this slide, but not the least in importance, is a production of hydrogen, which is considered today as a promising future fuel for the future. This is funny, but again, for production of hydrogen fuel, we need a lot of energy. And nuclear applications here could be very much helpful. But again, these all are energetic applications. So from this short introduction, I wanted to show you that main field of energetic applications include electricity generation and many types of non-electric applications. But we have not only energy at nuclear reactions. In these processes, we have radiations and radioactive materials which have very interesting and unusual properties that we can utilize for our benefits. Among them, ionizing ability. This is why ionizing radiation is called like this. This is penetrating ability, very remarkable, very much distinguishing ionizing radiations from other types of techniques that we can use, and other properties and features which are now utilized. I will try to show you this broad spectrum of applications. It covers today a lot of fields, a lot of things, and in my lecture today, of course, I have time only to show you few examples actually, but I will try to do my best on this. So let's start with agriculture and food production industry. First, I'd like to mention that many people believe that that ionizing radiation is something very bad and something killing everything around. And so people are often surprised to hear that it can be used in such a living sphere like agriculture. But actually, effect always depends on the level of impact. And at low and high doses, we can get absolutely different results. This is true not only about radiation, but this is true about any types of substances or impacts. Take, for example, medicals. If you take dose of medicine recommended by your doctor, it's okay. But when you take a lot of them, it could be lethal. And the same with poisons and with other substances and impacts. So at low doses of radiation, we can actually get even stimulating effect. At higher doses, we can use inhibition or we can have lethal effects. And all these consequences, we know how to utilize today. Most common spheres of application in agriculture and food production are radiation stimulation of plants, and not only plants, control of pests, and microbiological decontamination of food products. Let me show you a few examples. So let's start with stimulation. Radiation stimulation is known for many years, and one of the most often applied type of these things is so-called pre-sown irradiation. It means that different types of planting material, usually this is seeds, they are irradiated at low doses before planting. And this low impact stimulates different processes in these seeds or in other planting material, for example, in potato, or in other roots or sprouts. And because of this stimulation at early stages of development, we can get positive results. We can have better germination and survival of plants, higher harvest, better taste, and even higher content of nutritive substances in them. And as I already mentioned, it can be applied not only for plants, but also for stimulating embryogenesis in animals and stimulating growth and development of farmed animals also. If we increase the dose a bit, we will go to the range of inhibitory effect of radiation. And in agriculture, it is used to delay germination and sprouting. The picture here shows you well, I think, what I'm talking about. Such vegetables and root vegetables like potato, and well, there is a long list of such agriculture products. We can store them long because they start sprouting. What to do with it? Normally, or traditionally, to delay sprouting, we use cooling or sometimes chemical substances. But cooling needs electricity, and chemicals are not very healthy for people and for environment. For such types of plants as different bulbs, for example, onion here, you see chemicals are not much effective because growing point of bulbs is inside, in the very middle of the bulb growing point, and chemicals can't reach there. And radiation technologies show us a lot of benefits in comparison to other traditional techniques. So radiation can penetrate everywhere. It can treat large amounts of material simultaneously, and this is very effective. And in this case, we have no contamination of the environment, and actually, this is cheap. Also, inhibitory effect of radiation can be used to preserve fruits and prolong their shelf life. In this case, doses are usually a bit higher because here we need to postpone biochemical processes of ripening. And this technique allows us to prolong shelf life, which helps us in delivering these products to different parts of the world, and well, just prolong shelf life of them. You know, in your countries, there are a lot of fruits, nice tropical fruits, but in our country, half a year is winter, and in summertime also, we don't have such a diversity of nice fruits. So northern countries are ready to pay to buy all these fruits, but it's difficult to deliver them in time. And radiation can help us again in this. One more enemy of our food products are insects and pests. And they damage a lot of harvest, and we can lose a lot of products again, especially crops, cereals, and different types of dry foods. What can we do traditionally? Mostly people use chemicals again to fight against these insects. And disadvantages of this are obvious and well known. So again, this is contamination, which is not good for people and for environment. Then insects can adapt to these chemicals, and then efficiency will fall down. And well, you know, production of chemicals is an expensive process. With radiation technologies, we have a lot of advantages, and efficiency of them against insects is very high. We can always find such a dose, take such a dose of radiation, which kill all our enemies here. And here in this slide, one more application, which is possibly is most popular today and in most demand today in the world. This is food irradiation. I know that for some people it sounds strange and even scary, but actually this is very good and very healthy and safe process. Food irradiation is applied to decontaminate food products of microorganisms and bacteria and different parasites. And again, killing efficiency of radiation is very high, and result is impressive. Different types of food can be treated this way. You see in these pictures common types of applications. So this technique is applied for different types of meat, poultry, seafood, fish, and so on, and also for dry products, especially for species and spices. This is also nice that it can be used not only for fresh meat and seafood, but also for semi-ready and prepacked So first we can cut meat into pieces, pack them in vacuum package, and then irradiate. And this happens at very high speed. And it's very easy and very simple. So this is very cost effective, actually. What is the effect? Imagine you have a piece of meat in vacuum package. If you put it on your table at room temperature, next morning, I wouldn't recommend you to eat it, right? But if first you irradiate it, you can keep it at room temperature from 7 to 10 days without any change in taste and quality of these products. So you can easily understand that this opens large horizons, both for usual people, usual customers, and for commercial applications. Okay, let's go further. Also, irradiation technologies can be used for other types of products or commodities, like animal food, for example, or different types of packages. And also there could be a lot of other ideas, and horizons are open for new ideas and projects. Let's go further. Next field, next topic is modern healthcare. Today, many people know that nuclear technologies are used in medicine, and mostly we distinguish two types of application. This is diagnostics with these methods and also therapy. And there are some other additional services in the field of healthcare. Let's look at them. So, well, actually, I must say that in our second lecture, I'm sure you'll know more about applications of radiation and nuclear technologies in medicine. So I'm going to give you only a short review. And talking about diagnostics, the first method known in the world and applied over 100 years ago for first time, this is radiography or rentgenography. I'm sure that all of you know what is it, and probably most of you tried it. In this case, X-rays are used. X-rays can penetrate through tissues, and they are absorbed in these tissues depending on density of material. And then we have such an image showing us structure of inside organs. Rentgenography is used today also. Today we have a lot more types of installations. We know how to do it with low doses. And one of the most modern technique here is computer tomography. In the case of computer tomography, also X-ray machine is used. So X-ray source is here. It rotates with high speed around the patient, taking pictures from different directions. And simultaneously, patient can be moved alone so that we can have pictures of different parts of the body, hundreds of such images. They are transferred to computer, which constructs a 3D model of internal organs. And with the help of this, we can see what's going on inside the body. Probably you know that today, with our problem with COVID infection, computer tomography helped a lot in diagnostic of pneumonia caused by COVID. Second type of diagnostic techniques, and this is radionuclide diagnostics. And in this case, specially designed radiopharmaceuticals is introduced into the body of a patient. Mind that the first technique uses external irradiation of a body, while in this technology, in radionuclide diagnostics, exposure is internal. So radionuclide is introduced inside the body. And This is very interesting, very modern technology, and there are a lot of methods, very clever and smart. And today there are special approaches how to deliver this substance in the targeted place, directly to the organ that we'd like to explore. And I would say that, a pharmacy today is a very powerful industry, and now we know how to design chemical molecules which go exactly to the necessary place. And such molecules work like a boat, taking radionuclide as a passenger to the place we want to survey. And so this radionuclides sit inside and emits radiation, and special detectors register this radiation. So inside an organism, there is a fleet of such lightning lamps. One of the most advanced techniques in the field of radionuclide diagnostics is positron emission tomography. Principle is the same, but very special since with PET diagnostic is that here I used radionuclides with very short lifetimes. The lifetime is about few minutes. This is very good because it means that we deliver a low dose to patient, because in few minutes these radionuclides disappear. So this in the picture, here in the picture you can see a mouse, but actually this could be a human being. And radiopharmaceuticals again is introduced inside the body, where during positron electron annihilation, special radiation is emitted, and detectors absorb this energy. And again, in computer, we have a very accurate 3D image of internal organs, like in the picture here. But while patient in this picture doesn't need PET tomography actually, because he or she has very large problems. But positron emission tomography has very high accuracy. So it's used to find very small defects and diseases. But anyway, if any disease is found, we need to treat it. And again, in this case, radiation and nuclear technologies can help us. How does it work and why? Usually radiation and nuclear technologies are applied against cancer. It works well because it happens so that tumor cells are especially sensitive to ionizing radiation. So when we expose tumor cells, cancer cells, they are damaged with high efficiency, while healthy cells around are more resistant to radiation and they are damaged much less. To improve on the situation today in nuclear medicine, they use a lot of approaches to modify radiosensitivity of both tumor and healthy cells. And also there are special approaches to decrease doses of exposure to decrease secondary negative effects for a patient. I'll show you some examples. In nuclear medicine, in nuclear therapy, there are three common classes of approaches. The first one is teletherapy. In this case, a patient is exposed externally. So the source of radiation is located on a distance from our patient. There are a lot of examples, very interesting, but I like this one, Lexel gamma knife. It's very impressive too. In this case, they use sources of gamma radiation with cobalt-60. And this tool is usually applied to cure brain cancer. You know, brain cancer is difficult for medicine because to get rid of it, you need to do severe surgery and to open scalp of a patient. This is severe operation, and a patient needs then long period for recovery after such an operation. But in the case of gamma knife, this is very easy. This is fantastic, I think, actually. So look, for gamma knife, first of all, with the help of computed tomography, they find the exact point inside the brain where a tumor is located. Then computer calculates how to expose this point with highest efficiency. And here in this installation, there are a lot of sources of gamma rays, up to 200 sources. And computer decides which of them to use to focus them on our tumor. At interception, at cross-section of these beams, they reach a very high dose, sufficient to kill this tumor. Simultaneously, other regions of brain, other cells in the brain are exposed at very low doses, and all other body is also not exposed. This operation is so good, and this technique is so good that even pregnant women can go through this operation. There is no need for any anesthesia, and the patient can stand up immediately after operation, and, well, he can go home instead of half a year of recovery after traditional surgery. Next type of therapy is brachytherapy. In this case, radiation source is isolated into some capsule, and it can be applied for surface types of cancer. In this case, these sources of radiation just applied on the surface of skin, or some, in other cases, they can be implanted into tumors. Here you can see example of brachytherapy for prostate cancer treatment, and sources look like this. These capsules are implanted into this gland. Prostate cancer is widespread among men in human population, and with brachytherapy, efficiency of curing is close to 100%. This is between 97–99%. And this is very low invasive operation comparing again to traditional surgery. In a few days after operation, patient can return to work. And at last, radionuclide therapy. This is very similar to radionuclide diagnostics because, again, here they introduce radiopharmaceuticals inside the patient body. But in the case of diagnostics, we needed only to observe what is inside. While here, in the case of curing, we need to kill cancer cells. And this is why more powerful radionuclides are used. And I would say that these lamps here are hot because they need to burn out these tumor cells. This is very fast developing part of nuclear medicine and very intriguing with new approaches and skills. To do radionuclide diagnostics and therapy, we need radionuclides. So we need to produce them because actually you can't take radionuclides for a pack like an aspirin tabs. You need to take such things from, for example, nuclear reactor. But for production of radiopharmaceutical radionuclides, they don't use large nuclear reactors which are explored in nuclear power plants. For these purposes, we need just nuclear research reactors. They are small. They are not intended to produce electricity at all. And from their name, research reactors, it's clear that they are used for research in different sciences, in biology, medicine, in material science, in radiation chemistry, and so on. They are also used for training and education. And there are some commercial applications. Most developed among them is radionuclide production. Then in medicine, there are also some additional services, and very important is radiation sterilization. So today, over 200 articles are sterilized with radiation, and this is very good and effective. You can easily understand me with this picture, yes, and we now feel very well that we need high safety and high efficiency in production of such things like medical masks, for example. Radiation sterilization is a golden standard of sterilization in the world because efficiency is very high. Radiation can kill all bacteria and microorganisms. And also this is very fast process. So for example, in few weeks after the COVID pandemic started, Rosatom organized production of radiation sterilized masks, and output reached 10 million masks per week. Can you imagine? This is very fast and it's not expensive. Of course, we have problems in environmental sphere, and here also radiation can be used, for example, for sterilization, for cleaning of water, and also some gases. I must say again that traditional technologies are better than traditional technologies used in these spheres. And one more application, which I like very much, this is sterile insect technique. It's clear that it's used against insects, against pests. The first, so how it works? First of all, larvae of insects are irradiated and they are not killed. Doses are not such high. Doses are enough to sterilize these larvae. It means that adult insects became sterile and cannot have progeny. These sterilized insects, usually males, are released into normal environment, into wild environment, where they meet wild females. They mate, but because of sterility of males, there is no progeny. And in this way, population decreases with dramatical speed. History of success of these techniques started in the Northern America, where in the middle of last century, they got a lot of problems with screwworm fly. This is flesh-eating insect. And well, you can see from this slide how large were losses of American economy from this small insect. So they applied sterile insect technique, first in a small island close to the coast. And in this island, in 10 days after release of sterile insects, a screwworm fly disappeared. Then they started to do it first in southern states of the United States, then in other countries of Central America up to the whole Panamanian Peninsula. And it was extremely effective, and up to these days, there is no problems with screwworm fly in this huge region. Later, this technology was applied against other pests and harmful insects, for example, tsetse fly in Africa, against fruit fly in many countries. Fruit fly cause damage to agricultural production, to fruits especially. And there are also plans to control mosquito with this technique, which carry malaria and other diseases. Let's go on to new materials. Yes, actually today, many new materials are produced with the help of radiation. For example, cross-linked polymers. What is cross-linked polymers? You can guess it from this picture again. So with the help of radiation, we produce additional bonds between molecules of polymers. And because of this very simple idea, we have materials with new properties. Mostly, it means that molecules, they hold each other like these hands in this picture here. And because of this, materials are more resistant, these cross-linked polymers are more resistant to many types of impacts, high temperature, high voltage, and so on and so forth. Radiation cross-linking is also much more advantageous in comparison to traditional chemical technologies. It is used for many materials, and we all use these materials in our everyday life, like cables, pipes, and so on, like rubbers. The largest market for radiation vulcanized rubber is automobile tires, and the best companies in the world today produce these tires with the help of radiation vulcanization, radiation crosslinking. Also, in this sphere, new materials can be produced this way through grafting polymers. This technology means that with the help of radiation, we can add to the main polymer, to the carrier, additional atoms or molecules. And through this, we can give new properties to this new material. And we can design this new material any way we'd like and give it properties we'd like. This is used today a lot in biotechnological applications. And one example is hydrogels. If you've ever dealt with hydrogels, you probably know that this is very comfortable. And, we can modify, we can design these hydrogels the way we'd like, and it can have a lot of different properties, very useful and non-compatible in other types of materials. Then very short about measurements and devices. Very short because this is, it became traditional technology already. Such things as non-destructive control is in use for over 100 years. Here, penetrating ability of radiation is exploited, but just here we look through different constructions. You know, these people who work with non-destructive control, they say that they are doctors, but not for people, for different constructions in various spheres. The ideas of penetrating ability is also exploited for many measurement devices, which can measure thickness and level of liquids and the velocity of flow and so on and so forth. And in many industries it's applied. These gadgets are much better than traditional because they can be applied in different aggressive media at very high temperatures or pressure and so on. Here are some examples where they are used today in metal production or glass production industry, in tissue production, at controlling of gas and oil flow, at control of corrosion in pipes. We can do it here without any destruction of these materials. And of course, very large field of applications of these technologies is science. I'll show just a few examples of radioisotopes application. Quite well-known application is radio dating. So, you know, radioactive decay follows a strict law. Well, the law is here. So with special time half-life of radionuclides, half of these atoms decay. It means that at some moment of time, measuring the number of radioactive atoms of some element, we can calculate using this law the initial moment of time, and this way we can define this time period. So this technology is used in dating, in archaeological dating, and in different types of applications. For example, this is applied in isotopic hydrology because water reservoirs contain natural radionuclides, and by the amount of these natural radionuclides, we can calculate the time when these waters were created. Well, this slide illustrates that different isotopes can be used for waters of different ages. And one more example here, you see, this is map of the South America, but here you can see a large lake, sea. In usual geographical maps, there is no such things because this is underground reservoir. This is very old, and this is the largest in the world storage of underground water. Its age and origin was studied with the help of isotopic hydrology. Also, isotopes, radioactive isotopes can be used to follow different dynamical processes because we can, I would say, give color to different processes with these isotopes. It looks like this, but of course, this is not in optical range, and we cannot see radiation by our eyes, but we can register it with special detectors, and all isotopes look like having different color. This application is very sophisticated and very good, very nice application in many fields. Just one example about photosynthesis studies. You know, plants produce oxygen from water and a molecule of carbon dioxide. But do you know from which molecule goes this oxygen? From water or from carbon dioxide? Experiment is very simple. In first study, we can add a non-stable isotope of oxygen to water molecule, while another carbon dioxide is marked, is labeled with this isotope. And then we can study oxygen produced. And it happened that oxygen marked with this unstable isotope is in this experiment. It means that plants produce oxygen from water. I believe that many people think that this is made from carbon dioxide. So this technology is applied for many things in studying different processes, in environment studies, in biology, medicine, and even in industry. So I'm afraid that I don't have time. Do I have 5 minutes? Dear organizers, do I have 5 minutes?
Yes, Alexandra, only 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah. So the last that I'd like to show you, this is nuclear applications in social sphere. And here you can see the mummy of Ramses II, very famous mummy, which was kept in the Cairo Museum for several thousand years. But in the middle of, at the end of last century, it was infected with microbes and worms. To save this world heritage, radiation sterilization was applied. And so here in this application, sterilizing ability of radiation was used. Another example, here is an art piece about the Vesuvius volcano eruption. It happened also 2,000 years ago, and the Pompeii town was buried with volcano ash. But close to Pompeii, there was another, there was one more city called Herculaneum. There was a very good library with manuscripts and papyruses. They also happened under this ash. And now scientists found them. It's unbelievable, but they are in very good state. Of course, we can't unwrap it, but with penetrating ability of radiation, we can look inside and we can try to read what's written 2,000 years ago. Then radiation, as you probably know, can excite atoms and nucleus. And excited atoms will produce its own characteristic radiation. With this technique, we can define chemical composition of different materials. This example shows you this story with Michelangelo's statue of David. When specialists wanted to restore it, they wanted to find the exact chemical composition of materials. Traditionally, for laboratory analysis, you need to take a piece of this statue to laboratory, take it to laboratory. But with X-rays technology, they just exposed the nose of the statue without any harm for it and could find everything they wanted. With the help of these technologies, not only excitation can be achieved, but nuclear reactions can be also exploited, which also helps us to find chemical composition and even isotopic composition of different materials. For these purposes, neutron activation analysis is today considered as one of the most accurate technologies. Here is a story with Isaac Newton survey. So there was a rumor that this famous scientist was poisoned. So scientists took his hair, very small amount, of course, and they could explore it with this technique, neutron activation analysis, and found enhanced content of heavy metals, especially mercury. So tiny amounts could be found with high accuracy. And neutron activation analysis can find not only isotopic composition, but also origin of different materials, because isotopic ratio in different parts of the world is different for the same chemical element. For example, here was such a criminalistic story. This beautiful sand from this beach was stolen. And it's difficult to prove that sand in some other beach originated from this exactly coral spring beach. But with the help of nuclear technologies, they could find the so-called isotopic fingerprints, which shows origin of materials. So you can see that there are a lot of applications, there are a lot of spheres where we can use nuclear and radiation technologies. And we are sure that in future they will be growing in number and widespread. Of course, this is very good not only for countries, but for any person. It could become future career very interesting job, very interesting activity with promising results. So I hope it was interesting and helpful for you in understanding today's state with the nuclear technologies applications in non-power sphere. We will be very glad to see students from your countries in our university, National Research Nuclear University, and I'll be very glad to have any feedback or questions. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, doctora. Y ahora vamos a pasar a la presentación de la Universidad Politécnica de Tomsk. Bueno, vamos a comenzar primero también con un corto video.
In its 80-year history, the school has prepared over 12,000 graduates. Many of them head the leading companies in the nuclear and radiotechnological sector. The school facilities include the research nuclear reactor, the research cyclotron, and a set of interesting complex physical units. If you are interested in proven employees and promising research, contact us. We would be glad to welcome you.
Bueno, ahora cedo la palabra a Vera Joturo de la Universidad Politécnica de Tomsk. Por favor, la doctora.
Thank you very much. Good evening, good day, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start my presentation about the School of Nuclear Science and Engineering. On the example of School of Nuclear Science and Engineering, as I'm the Deputy Director of the school, and the topic of my presentation today is non-power application of nuclear and radiation technologies, which is in the continuation of the presentation of Professor Udalova. And I will show you the opportunities to develop non-power applications of nuclear and radiation technologies at operating nuclear and radiation facilities as on the example of our university. So, today we will see three of these facilities, and I will tell you about three main facilities, nuclear and radiation facilities, that are used in the field of nuclear medicine, which is one of the best examples of non-power application of nuclear and radiation technologies. So the first and the biggest facility is nuclear research reactor. I can say that now Tomsk Polytechnic University is the only university in Russia with having an operating nuclear research facility in our structure, and we provide all our international students with the full opportunity to be trained at this nuclear research reactor. So in the first three lines of the slide, you can see the characteristics of our reactor, and you see that our reactor is quite powerful. It is a 6 megawatt reactor. And then you see the main applications fields where the reactor could be used. And among these application fields, at least 2 of them are connected with the directions of nuclear medicine. It is the development of technologies to obtain new diagnostic and therapeutic radiopharmaceuticals, and the development of Neutron capture therapy methods for cancer treatment. We will talk about these ideas a little bit later, and now we come to the second facility, which is named Cyclotron. Also, TPU is the only university in Russia with having operating cyclotron in our structure. So, and together we can say that in our university, our students have an opportunity to be trained to do the research and to get practical competences at both facilities, operating nuclear research reactor and operating cyclotron. So again, in the first several lines at the slide, you can see the characteristics of the cyclotron. And the unique thing is that our cyclotron has a special channel for neutron therapy in oncology. And from the very beginning till now, this is the only channel at operating cyclotron in Russia at all, not only at university cyclotron. And this channel is used to do the treatment of cancer patients. So then also we can see the main application fields for such facility as cyclotron. And again, among these fields, at least 2 of them are the final lines are connected to the field of nuclear medicine. It is neutron therapy for oncological diseases with this special channel for neutron therapy, and the obtaining or production of medical isotopes. So now we can compare these 2 facilities. What is a common characteristic and what are the main differences? As you see, the common is that both of these facilities can be used in the field of cancer treatment. The methods of therapy will be different, but the idea to use this facility for cancer treatment is common for both facilities. And the second common feature is that both of these facilities can be used for production of medical isotopes or so-called radiopharmaceuticals. What is the difference? The main difference is that nuclear research reactor, it is a nuclear facility, and cyclotron is not a nuclear facility, but it is a radiation facility, because cyclotron, it is a type of accelerating facility. And this is the first and the main difference. And the second difference is, of course, connected to the size of the facilities themselves. So if we come back to the photo of the research reactor, and on this slide you can see the photo of our operating nuclear research reactor. So it is a very big facility which locates at a separate special campus with several buildings, etc. If we look at cyclotron, of course, it is also a very big facility, but much smaller in the comparison of nuclear research reactor. It does not need a special territory or a special campus. So our cyclotron locates in one of the university buildings. So this is the second difference, the size. The third facility, which is used in the field of nuclear medicine, is named Betatron. On the photo, you can see that among these 3 facilities, it is the most compact facility, the smallest one. The same as the cyclotron, it is also not nuclear, but radiation facility. And also this facility refers to the class of so-called accelerators, accelerating equipment. I would like to say that the unique thing refers to Betatron is that the developer of Betatron technology, the founder of the first Betatron, The father founder of the idea of Betatron is Tomsk Polytechnic University. Many years ago, one of the professors of our university developed the idea, the technology of Betatron, and created the first facility. So a little bit later, I will show you the map of supplying these Betatrons now, but I can say that now TPU supplies these Betatrons from United Kingdom till Indonesia. So on this slide, you can see the characteristics of the Betatron as the facility, and again, the main application fields. Among these fields, there are two connected with nuclear medicine applications. They are the final on the slide. It is intraoperative radiation therapy and superficial radiation therapy. So again, if we compare this facility with two previous ones, we can see the main difference that the first two facilities, both nuclear research reactor and cyclotron, can be used not only in the field of therapy, but also in the field of medical radiopharmaceuticals production. Thinking about Betatron, it is obvious from the slide that Betatron can't be used to produce radiopharmaceuticals, but it is successfully used to do medical treatment for cancer patients. This is the main difference. Then, on this slide, you see the main stages in the development of the technologies of nuclear medicine. I can say that this way and these stages are standard for any country if the country decides to start the development of nuclear medicine technologies. And here you can see just the example of our university, but this example is standard. More than 40 years ago, the first research teams were established in our university in the field of nuclear medicine. Then in 1983, we started the neutron therapy procedures for oncological tumors. These procedures were done for the breast, head, and neck cancer at our cyclotron. And again, as I've already said, the neutron channel that was used and that is used now for this type of treatment, for this type of therapy, is still the only one cyclotron channel in Russia. So that is why all the students from the beginning are involved not only in the process of training or in the process of research, but they are also involved in the process of real production of radiopharmaceuticals if they choose this direction for their future profession, or in the process of treatment of real patients if they choose as their future career development direction, the direction connected to radiation therapy, radiation diagnostics in the field of nuclear medicine. Well, in 1990, the Betatron was firstly developed in our university, and as I already said, our university is the owner of the idea and the patent for Betatron, and the professors of our university were the founders and developers of this technology. In 1999, the technology non-waste, which means ecologically friendly technology of molybdenum-99 production was developed. You know that molybdenum-99 isotope is used to produce technetium-99 generators, which are worldwide used in the field of nuclear medicine. The thing is that before 1999, there was the only technology in the world to get molybdenum-99, and it was waste technology. So as a result of production molybdenum-99, there was a huge amount of waste, which means that that technology was not ecologically friendly. The professor of our university developed the technology of getting molybdenum-99 without waste at all, which means that this technology is completely eco-friendly. So now, as a result, there are just two technologies of getting molybdenum-99 in the world to produce technetium-99 generators for the needs of nuclear medicine. Just two technologies, and the founder, the author of one of these technologies is the professor of our university. This professor is still working, teaching students and doing research supervision to the students. So in 2003, the production of technetium-99 generators, mobile and remotely controlled generators, started, and now we supply these generators to oncological hospitals, to medical centers all around eastern part of Russia, from Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk, which is one of the very eastern locations in our country, till Chelyabinsk. Well, radiopharmaceuticals. Why today we're talking so much about radiopharmaceuticals? You see that it was said a lot that we can use these radiopharmaceuticals to treat or to do the diagnostics of cancer, different types of cancer, but not only. You can see on the slide that the applications of medical radiopharmaceuticals are much wider. We can use these radiopharmaceuticals to do the diagnostics of heart diseases, kidney diseases, some problems with liver and lungs. So as you see, the application of these radiopharmaceuticals based on medical isotopes is very, very wide. That is why the idea of production medical radiopharmaceuticals is so demanded in the world and demanded by the countries that decide to start to develop the technologies of nuclear medicine. On the photo from the right side, you can see the researchers, one of the researchers of our university are at the final stage of technetium-99 generator production in the laboratory of radiopharmaceuticals production of our nuclear research reactor. So on this slide, you can see the basic difference between the production of so-called reactor radiopharmaceuticals and cyclotron radiopharmaceuticals. On the line above, you see the model and formula of production technetium-99 generator, and on the photo from the right side, you see the already completed technetium-99 generator that then will be supplied to the oncological hospital. On the second part of the slide, which is below the first, you see the formula of production so-called cyclotron radiopharmaceuticals. And you see that one of the main differences is the process of production, and the radiopharmaceuticals themselves are different. When we say about cyclotron radiopharmaceuticals, they are based on thallium-199 and iodine-123. And on the photo from the right side, you see also one of the researchers of our Cyclotron complex laboratory are who is involved in the process of gold target for Thallium-199 production. On this photo, you see the names of the medical radiopharmaceuticals that are produced and have been developed on the base of our university in a partnership of National Research Medical Center, which locates in Tomsk. And in the center, of course, Technetium-99 generators. On this slide, you see the map of the supply of the betatrons, as I've said, from United Kingdom till Indonesia. And the reason why they're so popular, I will explain you a little bit later. And this reason is also connected to the field of nuclear medicine. Well, but firstly are the slides, some slides dedicated to the perspectives of nuclear medicine, because for the students who will come to the programs connected, degree programs or certificate programs connected to the field of nuclear medicine, the most reasonable question is, what is next? Okay, the reactor is already working. The cyclotron is working. The radiopharmaceuticals are produced. The therapy is done. Okay, what is new? Here you see that one of the most prospective and new technologies in the field of nuclear medicine is named theranostics. This is the combination of two words, therapy and diagnostic. What it is? The idea is that when the tumor, the cancer is discovered in a patient, you know that the person has to go through very physically hard procedures. Firstly, diagnostic procedures and then therapeutic procedures. And of course, hopefully, as a result of these procedures, a man or a woman will be recovered and this tumor will be killed. But during this process, there will be a serious damage because of the hundreds of these procedures. There will be a serious damage to the mentality of the person, to the human body. Here, the idea of theranostic is to minimize, to decrease the number of the procedures which the patient has to go through. How to do it? The idea is to develop the product on the target compound labeled with isotopes. And this product is designed to identify this tumor target and then to have therapeutic effect, which means that with the one procedure, and here on the slide you see the formula of these isotopes, with one procedure we can reach two goals, diagnostic goal and then as the next step therapeutic goal. And that is why we can help a person to deal with this disease easier. On this slide, you see the results that were already achieved by our university in the field of theranostics, together with medical hospitals. And in the right corner, you see the model of theranostic procedure with the vector molecule, target cell membrane, and radionuclide. So some new radiopharmaceuticals have been developed for theranostic needs. Some new methods have been developed, and even some testing procedures have been done using this new medical radiopharmaceuticals. Let's go back to betatrons and let's think about the reasons of their popularity. As we have already discussed, we can't use betatrons for production of radiopharmaceuticals, but we can use them, and we use them successfully to do the treatment. The idea is that you see on the photo that the patient is treated, cancer patient is treated with the use of betatron. What is unique in this treatment? You can look at these examples. You see that, as Professor Dalova already said, that very usually the only possible treatment for cancer patient is a surgery procedure. So, but this is not the final stage of the treatment very usually, because after the surgery, the patient has to go through several weeks of standard radiation therapy. Can you imagine how it is physically hard, firstly, to go through a surgery and then to go through 5 weeks of radiation therapy? So just 1 minute of intraoperative radiation therapy with the use of betatron can replace 5 weeks of standard radiation therapy. The difference is huge, 1 minute and 5 weeks. So one more figure is very interesting. You know that one of the most dangerous things when we're thinking about cancer is the high percentage of relapses. So the person is sure that he or she has won in this fighting with a tumor. The person thinks that he or she has been recovered, and suddenly the disease comes back. So usually with the use of standard methods of treatment, the percentage of the cases when the cancer comes back is about, you see, 18%, 18-20%. It means that every 5th person meets with coming back of this dangerous disease. If we use betatron treatment procedures, the percentage of coming back of this disease radically decreases, and just 8% of the patients meets with this situation. 18 and 8. Also, the difference is dramatical. Well, one more prospective technology with the use of nuclear and radiation technologies in the field of nuclear medicine is named neutron capture therapy. What it is? Well, today Professor Dalova also has already mentioned that one of the most difficult treatment and dangerous cancer is the brain cancer. And very often it is completely impossible to do the treatment of brain tumors with standard procedures. It is almost impossible to do a standard operation or standard radiation therapy. Why? If the tumor locates very deep in the brain, when you do a standard surgery, while you reach the location of the tumor, there is a very high risk to damage healthy elements of brain substance. The same when we're using standard radiation therapy. While this neutron flux reaches the tumor, it can damage the healthy parts of brain substance. As a result, it can negatively affect on the functions of the human body in general. So neutron capture therapy in this case is a unique technology, especially in the situations of inoperable tumors, tumors of head or neck, and when we're thinking about brain tumors, this is the most promising technology with no alternative. Neutron capture technology can't be applied at the base of cyclotron or betatron because for this technology you need nuclear facility. So our nuclear research reactor is used to develop this technology, neutron capture technology. And I can say that we have already had very successful results because we have already done the tests with biological objects, with the cats and the dogs. And after the treatment with neutron capture technology, the pets were living successfully for some period after this treatment. Then, if you want to develop neutron capture technology at a nuclear facility, nuclear research facility, here on the slide, you can see the main characteristics that facility should have to develop this technology. There should be an experimental channel for neutron radiation therapy. There should be a separate complex of the rooms for patient preparation, therapy, observation, etc. There should be, of course, special therapy planning software and equipment to determine the concentration of the isotopes in the blood of the patient. Well, here, let me say just some words about training activities. So I can say, first of all, that we have very friendly collaboration with South American students. This presentation for you was translated from English into Spanish by our PhD student from Venezuela. This student has been doing his research at Cyclotron in the field of cyclotron radiopharmaceuticals production. Among our students, we have the students from Brazil, from Venezuela, together with Rosatom, in a partnership of Rosatom, we are doing the training of the personnel for Bolivia in the field of the Center of Nuclear Research and Technologies. We have already successfully trained several students that in the nearest future, Bolivian students, I mean, will be working for the prosperity of their country, of Bolivia. And we are waiting for the next stage to train the next Bolivian students. And I can say that all the training, both in the field of nuclear medicine, in the field of neutron activation analysis, in the field of agriculture, radiation, etc., is done completely at our operating facilities. And today in my presentation, you watched just several of these facilities. Also, we have international master program, which is delivered completely in English. So our students do not need to learn Russian language in advance, but then as a part of the curriculum, they will learn Russian language for sure during 2 semesters. And within the program, there are 3 trajectories for the students to be trained. The first one is nuclear power engineering. The students' future staff of nuclear facilities, nuclear research facility or industrial facility is being trained along this trajectory. The second specialization or trajectory is nuclear medicine. And today I've said a lot about this trajectory of training and facilities that are used for this trajectory. And the third trajectory, which is also very important for any country that would like to start the development of nuclear and radiation technologies, is named Nuclear Safety, Security, and Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Materials. So we would be happy to see you and new South American students at our programs. Thank you very much for your attention.
Bueno, muchas gracias, doctora. Bueno, ahora vamos a escuchar de nuevo a Dmitry Bajenov, director de la Oficina de Proyectos para el Desarrollo de las Competencias Internacionales de Rosatom Overseas.
Hola, colegas, una vez más. Ahora les voy a dar breve información sobre los centros nucleares que estamos construyendo alrededor del mundo hoy en día y una breve información histórica de cuántos reactores habíamos construido antes del día de hoy. Dimitri, ¿me puede decir si la presentación ya está en la pantalla, si todo se ve bien?
Sí, todo perfecto. Todo perfecto.
Perfecto, entonces, colegas, voy a continuar. Ahora, la pregunta a la cual voy a contestar es ¿cuál es el propósito del reactor de investigación y cómo puede ayudar a Bolivia a impulsar su desarrollo? Entonces, aquí en principio les quiero decir que la ciencia nuclear es crucial para comprender nuestro universo, nuestro mundo y nosotros mismos a nivel minuscular o atómico. Si podemos comprender cómo los átomos se unen, interactúan y se pueden combinar mejor con otros átomos, entonces se pueden desarrollar nuevos materiales y medicamentos más eficientes. Los reactores de investigación son una herramienta increíble y poderosa para eso. Están diseñados para proporcionar una fuente de neutrones para investigación y otros fines. Por ejemplo, digamos que si pones la botella de ketchup boca abajo, la salsa casi no gotea mientras se agila. Fluye fácilmente sobre la pasta, ¿verdad? Los neutrones pueden ayudar a explicar en un lenguaje de física. Permiten realizar investigaciones de la estructura dentro de cualquier material y partículas como su viscosidad o tenacidad. Es una práctica muy común construir instalaciones de reactores de investigación en las ciudades. Ahora les voy a dar diferentes ejemplos donde podemos encontrar los reactores de investigación casi en el medio de una ciudad. Un gran ejemplo es apenas de 20 minutos en coche del reactor de investigación Triga desde el centro de Viena. Pero sin embargo hay muchos otros ejemplos. Por ejemplo, en la ciudad que vivo yo hoy en día, Moscú, tenemos no en el pleno centro, pero alrededor de la ciudad hay un centro con un reactor de investigación. También hay uno en Lima, en la ciudad de Lima, en San Paulo y otras ciudades. Acá pueden ver, y quiero decir que Bolivia será el siguiente país que va a operar un reactor de investigación en el futuro próximo. El reactor será el núcleo de su proyecto innovador, y quiero subrayar que es muy importante, que será el primer centro de investigación nuclear del mundo que se construirá a nivel de más de 4.000 metros sobre el nivel del mar en la ciudad del Alto. Además del reactor de investigación, el centro albergará numerosos laboratorios y varias instalaciones con fines científicos y comerciales. Aquí pueden ver el modelo del centro que pronto va a ser operado. Se contratarán más de 500 empleados locales. Las empresas bolivianas locales ya participan en todas las etapas de la construcción, lo que aumenta el PIB local. Y el centro de investigación y desarrollo en tecnología nuclear facilitará el desarrollo de ciencia, la educación, la salud, la agricultura y otros sectores. Tal vez en el futuro próximo la ciudad del Alto puede ser el centro turismo de medicina nuclear. ¿Por qué no? El centro de investigación es un proyecto histórico en América Latina. Beneficia a toda la región a través de la introducción de tecnología nuclear de punta. Da referencias en la implementación de proyectos de punta. Introduce nuevas profesiones de prestigio en áreas nucleares y afines. Yo ya conozco muchas personas de Latinoamérica que quieren venir a Bolivia para trabajar en este centro en futuro. También el centro servirá como un centro científico y educativo para la colaboración regional o incluso internacional. Impulsará la ciencia, la salud, la educación, la agricultura, la alimentación y otros muchos sectores. Quizás habían oído de la activación de neutrones, que es un método establecido para averiguar la composición y el origen de los materiales desde la identificación de impurezas en el suelo para la evaluación ecológica hasta la calidad del aire en los gimnasios locales. La técnica altamente sensible puede revelar la concentración de un solo átomo en una milonésima parte de muchos otros átomos. Su precisión ofrece ventajas sobre otros métodos analíticos y es particularmente útil para análisis masivo y para estudiar materiales que son tan únicos que deben mantener su integridad. Entonces, los principales campos de aplicación diaria de este método son ciencias ambientales, arqueología, cultura, patrimonio e incluso forense. El análisis de activación de neutrones fue descubierto en el año 1935 por Hevesi y Levy, alrededor de 50 años después de Sherlock Holmes. Ellos encontraron que las muestras contenían ciertos elementos de tierras raras que se volvían altamente radioactivos después de la exposición a una fuente de neutrones. Esta observación llevó al uso de radioactividad inducida para la identificación de los elementos. El análisis de activación ayuda a los expertos también en arte de todo el mundo a obtener más información sobre el origen de varias obras de arte. Sin embargo, la activación de neutrones también se puede utilizar para investigar y probar la calidad del aire interior, como ya había mencionado antes, en museos para ayudar a determinar la cantidad y el origen de los contaminamientos en el aire. Además, las empresas mineras pueden beneficiarse del análisis de activación de neutrones, ya que puede ayudar a encontrar depósitos de oro, gemas preciosas y otros activos minerales. Como pueden ver, es una técnica increíble que puede ser utilizada por muchas industrias, como el sector de petróleo y gas, la producción de litio, entre otras. Ahora volvamos al tema de los radioisótopos que hemos tocado al principio. Y por cierto, el centro que se está construyendo en el Alto albergará dicho laboratorio. Igual que el análisis de activación de neutrones, los radioisótopos se utilizan en una variedad de aplicaciones en los campos médicos, industriales, científicos, seguir el flujo de contaminantes en los sistemas biológicos, por ejemplo, para determinar los procesos metabólicos en algunos animales, entre otros. Las industrias también utilizan radioisótopos para medir, por ejemplo, los niveles de líquido dentro de los contenedores o para medir el espesor de los materiales. La medicina nuclear utiliza pequeñas cantidades de radiación para proporcionar información sobre el cuerpo de un individuo y las funciones de órganos específicos, procesos biológicos en curso o el estado de la enfermedad. Esta radiación se conserva dentro de los radiofármacos que tienen una vida útil extremadamente corta. En algunos casos, por ejemplo, solo 1 o 2 horas. Por eso es muy importante planear la logística para poder suministrar los isótopos necesarios. Por eso el centro que se está siendo construido tiene el reactor de investigación ya en el mismo sitio que todo el centro en sí. Problemas globales como la pandemia de este año pueden plantear riesgos para el transporte y la entrega mundial con fines medicinales. En tiempos de incertidumbre es especialmente crucial que los países colaboren en este área para tener un acceso rápido a este servicio, preferiblemente dentro de una región, porque obviamente hay cooperación internacional en el tema y seguro que va a ser desarrollado, pero teniendo en cuenta los temas logísticos que había mencionado, es muy importante cooperar entre países en la región. Para finalizar este tema de radioisótopos, la demanda está creciendo enormemente y no solo dentro de la producción y uso de la industria de radiofármacos, sino también para mejorar la productividad y obtener información que no se puede obtener en ninguna otra manera. Acá pueden ver la información sobre el laboratorio de radiobiología, que también tiene un amplio aspecto de uso como modificación genética de semillas, estudio de intercambio mineral entre plantas, investigación del ciclo del agua de la biosfera, etcétera, etcétera. Acá van a tener toda la información en la diapositiva. Aquí tienen un caso de estudio extraordinario. Con la ayuda de la técnica de insectos estériles que se utiliza en este laboratorio, Senegal logró suprimir la población de mosca tsetse en un 98% sin dañar inadvertidamente a otros insectos. Demostró un estudio de 8 años. Esta historia de éxito sucedió en Niayes, una gran tierra de 1000 kilómetros cuadrados, cerca de Dakar, famosa por sus granjas ganaderas. El laboratorio de radiobiología trabaja en el formato de sinergia con el laboratorio de radioecología para proporcionar datos valorosos que se puedan usarse para desarrollar programas ecológicos nacionales, a nivel nacional. Así también funcionó en Bolivia, debido a estudios de agua y otras muestras biológicas dentro de un proyecto especial del Organismo Internacional de Energía Nuclear. Los científicos revelaron secretos de los suministros de agua natural a las ciudades de El Alto y Viacha, que dependen principalmente del ecosistema de Purani, que es una montaña que sirve como reserva de agua. Y ellos descubrieron que en la zona norte de esta montaña, el agua a niveles poco profundos está ligeramente contaminada, mientras que algunas de las reservas de aguas en la zona oriental existen de hace más de 2 millones de años. Por último, pero no menos importante, los ecólogos identificaron la fuente de agua subterránea de Puranapuri, agua de lluvia en la cordillera de los Andes. Teniendo en cuenta este conocimiento, las autoridades ecológicas hicieron planes para preservar las reservas de agua de Purani mediante la construcción de esquemas de recarga de agua artificial. Aquí, por último, varias palabras sobre el laboratorio de plasma con sus fantásticas aplicaciones que están ya mencionados aquí en la diapositiva, y tareas y aplicaciones que puede ser este laboratorio, que es investigación de fusión, exploración especial, medicina, entre otros. Y aquí también vemos la aplicación de recubrimientos protectores sobre superficie sensible a la temperatura. Desinfección y curación de heridas superficiales, el tratamiento de semillas, fumigación, también es una forma confiable de controlar los parásitos. Aquí ya terminando una presentación, lastimamente la hice muy breve porque no tenemos mucho tiempo. Aquí en la diapositiva tienen la información sobre las referencias de Rosatom, los reactores de investigación en el extranjero que habíamos construido. Quiero subrayar las cifras más importantes, que se han construido más de 122 reactores de investigación en diferentes países con el apoyo de Rusia. Hoy, Corporación Estatal Rosatom es el operador del 20% de los reactores de investigación en todo el mundo, que es la mayor parte. Y en el territorio de la Federación de Rusia funcionan más de 50 reactores de investigación. Obviamente es la información breve que había dado. Tenemos varios proyectos y actividades de diferentes divisiones de Rosatom en América Latina, en Brasil, Argentina, México, etcétera, etcétera. Estamos listos y abiertos para cooperar sobre diferentes temas con los países. Si tienen alguna pregunta especial, pueden contactar con los colegas para que después me puedan pasar las preguntas. Estoy a su disposición. Y aquí, ya terminando, la parte importante, que Rosatom está totalmente listo para seguir los SDG Goals, Sustainable Development Goals. Tenemos varios programas, proyectos en las ciudades presentes donde Rosatom tiene proyectos, y tratamos de brindar todo lo posible para cumplir con estas metas. Muchísimas gracias por su atención y espero que mi español fue entendible. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, Dimitri. Su español fue impecable. Muchas gracias por una presentación muy interesante. Bueno, estamos por terminar. Lamentablemente, Cuba está con problemas de conexión, pero quédense tranquilos. Esta grabación este video queda grabado en nuestra página de Facebook. Recibimos muchos comentarios. Pueden dirigir sus preguntas. Le vamos a enviar a los representantes de Rosatom, de las universidades. Bueno, hay muchas consultas respecto de los requisitos, cómo postularse a la beca del gobierno de Federación de Rusia. Bueno, como ya habíamos publicado, la página es educationinrussia.com. Es la única página, porque vi en comentarios que ahí se figuran en comentarios varias. No, educationrussia.com. Si no funciona en este momento, vuelvo a entrar más tarde. Bueno, los requisitos también es una de las consultas. Bueno, los requisitos también pueden encontrar en las páginas de los Centros Rusos de Ciencia y Cultura en su país, o en la página de la Embajada de Rusia también en su país. Bueno, en cada país hay un representante encargado de becas, así que llamen y averigüen si tienen consultas. El proceso, el requisito es bastante sencillo. Tiene que registrarse en la página y presentar la primera hoja de pasaporte y el título, sea secundario o universitario, depende de la carrera que quiere estudiar. Bueno, subir todo, completar todos los datos y enviar su solicitud antes del 15 de marzo. Bueno, creo que eso es todo. Después cualquier cosa le vamos a contestar. Ahora vamos a cerrar entonces con el video de la empresa Rosatom, que ya habíamos dicho que es un líder de energía nuclear, es un líder mundial. Así que vamos a cerrar con este pequeño video, por favor.
Climate change is here. Climate change is happening. We are well into the 6th mass extinction event.
More than 1,000 people being rescued just in the early morning hours of Sunday.
Millions of people are likely to suffer worsening food and water shortages.
Climate change. Climate change. Climate change.
We chose nuclear power that has maximum effects in all spheres. Local industry boost, GDP growth, job creation. What is more, nuclear power plants have no emissions. My country successfully walked all the way to be ready to build our first nuclear power plant.
Rosatom Corporation has developed centers for nuclear science and technology. They bring industry enhancement, safety culture development, and build up nuclear competencies to reach scientific and technological advancement.
Nuclear Medicine Center and an irradiation facility can also be parts of the center.
Technologies for a better and much more sustainable future. To be a part of the new. To contribute to the future. To be part of a new adventure that can inevitably contribute to the future. To learn and know more about the technology. The Russian nuclear education. To be independent. To learn and know new things every day. To set and define a goal. To dream. To invent. To innovate. To be successful. To be dynamic. To continue propelling oneself. To be needed. To be a leader. To see the world without stopping. To seize all available opportunities. To enjoy every day. To never put enough one's life till tomorrow, because there is no time like the present. To live a life free from procrastination. To get closer to the truth. To become part of a multinational team. To make your choice. The Russian nuclear education.
Bueno, muchas gracias. Quería agradecer a todos los participantes, a las universidades rusas, a la empresa Rosatom, a los centros de ciencia y cultura, a las embajadas. Muchas gracias a todos y bueno, estamos acá para ustedes. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.